With Jurassic World Rebirth coming out soon, and with early reviews being less than positive, I thought it was a good time to talk about this franchise as a whole. I want to look at the first Jurassic Park all the way to the new blockbuster and examine how a tired, desperate franchise was originally born from a movie that I would call perfect in every way. This is Jurassic Park, a franchise that must go extinct. The first Jurassic Park film is a classic. It's everything I love about storytelling and movie making. It's paced brilliantly, full of fantastic characters that go on their own emotional journeys. The effects are brilliant, they still hold up today, and this is mainly because of the amount of time and care that was taken during the making of the film. It's directed beautifully, the score is perfect, the performances are strong, and it balances its use of comedy and horror in a way that the whole family can enjoy. Spielberg has always been great at creating wonder and magic, and I think Jurassic Park will always go down as one of his greatest achievements as a director and a filmmaker. The first Jurassic World, however, doesn't create the same sense of wonder. However, it does expect you to feel it. Now, I've never liked the film. I think it's the best of the Jurassic World trilogy, but that's not saying much. I think the characters are weak, the story is kind of nothing, its pacing is all over the place, and I always feel like the film is worried I'm bored. And in my latest video, I talked about the pitfalls of nostalgia, and this movie definitely falls into it. There are many times where the music will swell or there's a visual beat from the first film, and it really expects you to bring all those fond memories you had for the classic to this movie. It's not really creating new emotions, but reheating ones you've carried with you from Jurassic Park. Also, there was a short time where things started having super fans of the original as characters in the film or show, and I never got that. I find that so fucking annoying. Sorry, Osgood fans, but no, it's annoying. And then the sequels that followed just got worse. They feel bloated, kind of desperate almost to stand alongside modern blockbusters rather than finding joy in being its own thing. And I think the biggest issues with this franchise can be boiled down into two parts. So here we go. I said at the beginning of this that the pacing of Jurassic Park is brilliant, and I think that's got a lot to do with how the film handles the dinosaurs. Because the dinosaurs aren't just used for spectacle, but they also guide the narrative and kind of the genre of the film. The first half is full of wonder, it's a magical journey into a park that every kid dreams of going to, while the second half switches it on its head, and suddenly the film becomes a monster movie with threat and tension and characters being eaten all over the place. As the magic wears off for the characters and they start to realise how much danger they're actually in, the audience realises the same. We go on that journey with them, we feel what they feel, whether that's amazement or terror. However, during all of this, the film never forgets the main thing that a dinosaur movie should remember. Dinosaurs are cool. They're cool. There's a reason so many kids go through a phase of being obsessed with them. Dinosaurs are big, scary monsters that actually once exist. That's really cool. I sound like an 8-year-old, but sod it. They're cool. I like dinosaurs. I'll admit it. I like dinosaurs. The film wants to take you on that journey, wants to make you feel like a kid again. It knows that seeing these big animals is exciting, so it treats it like the biggest thing ever. But it doesn't do it in a way that many films would do now, thinking that bigger means better and that an audience will automatically get excited because something's huge. Instead, it uses its pacing to build up intrigue. It wants you to lean forward in your chair, to hold your breath, and only when it feels like the audience is going to burst does it show you the dinosaur it promised. And all of this is masterfully constructed in a single scene. When Alan and Ellie are in the car and they see a dinosaur for the first time, I think it's one of the greatest moments of cinema. And it's not because it's shocking or full of twists or an action-packed acid trip, but because it's directed so cleverly, so detailed yet so simple that it naturally creates that magic that is missing in so many franchises today. We see Alan sat down and suddenly he spots something from afar, but we don't get to see what yet. Instead, we hold on him. He takes off his hat and takes off his sunglasses. Now, most films would think we've waited long enough now to cut to the wonder, but not Spielberg. He's just getting started. Instead, we cut to Ellie, who at this point is excited about a leaf that should no longer exist. Alan reaches out, so stunned he can't talk, and physically turns her head. Not only does this further show how shocked Alan actually is, but it makes the storytelling completely visual, rather than relying on a boring line of dialogue like, "Look over there." She sees what Alan is seeing, and yet we still don't cut to their point of view. Instead, we watch Ellie stand up and take her sunglasses off, just like Alan did, and we hold on them for a little longer, really taking in their shocked expressions. Without actually having to tell the audience that this is magical, it shows it. It immerses us into the world. We are leaning forward from our seats, and then, and only then, do we see our first proper dinosaur. This is how you do a reveal. It's meaningful, it's magical, it completely stuns our characters, leaving them in awe. And this moment would be good as it is. You could cut here, but it doesn't. It allows this moment to really sink in and continues to build over the next couple of minutes. Also, if you're watching this thinking I'm going on about this scene too much, you should really feel sorry for my partner. She has heard me gush over this scene so many times, I think I've probably ruined it for her. But sod it, I think it's good. Because what happens next is wonderful. Dr. Alan, a man who has been shown to us to be incredibly intelligent, quite stern, very adult if you will, becomes a little kid, unable to say anything else but
It's a dinosaur.
It then teases us with a T-Rex. We get the iconic welcome to Jurassic Park. Again, we see Alan notice something before it's revealed to us, before finally ending on this magical shot. The whole scene, barely 3 minutes long, captures the entire charm of the film while also building character, creating the world and immersing the audience into it, while also promising more surprises to come. I don't think any other Jurassic Park or Jurassic World film has ever come close to capturing a moment like this. I know some people really like this scene. I think it's because of nostalgia attached to it, finally seeing the park up and running, but it doesn't do anything for me personally. We've just got two characters who really couldn't care less, a boy who's being completely ignored, and then some buildings. It doesn't have any of the richness of the original scene had, and I just think it's really relying on that iconic music to make up for the lack of actual emotion or storytelling. But let's go back a bit. I've skipped ahead. I think Lost World is fine. It's alright, definitely one of my least favourite Spielberg films. I'm not a massive fan of the book either. I just think both the book and the film fall into the trap that many sequels do when they take a very good side character and try and bump them up to a main protagonist. I'm not saying this can't be done, it can work amazingly, but I think a lot of the time it just feels off. It has some fun set pieces, the performances are good, but the charm just isn't there. Although the opening scene is brilliant, I also think this is one of my favourite scenes in the whole franchise just because of how dark it is. Jurassic Park 3 is where things get slightly complicated. Okay, don't hate me, don't click the dislike button, just hear me out. I kinda like it. It's not good, it's nothing compared to the original, but it always feels like it's a Jurassic Park B movie, and there's something about that just kinda works for me. I mean, yes, the talking raptor dream bit is absolute nonsense, but it's 5 seconds long, I can live with it. The character work is absolutely nothing. The main woman just spends the whole film screaming, but I don't know, I think it's because it doesn't take itself seriously. I'll talk about this in a bit, but a lot of franchises now either take themselves so seriously it's painful, or they go down the comedy SNL route, becoming almost a parody of themselves. Where Jurassic Park 3 is just Jurassic Park 3. It's a monster movie through and through with little substance, but kind of the perfect rainy day or hangover film. I also think it's the scariest the dinosaurs ever got in this franchise. They really decided to just make them wild monsters, and although that loses so much of the wonder, it's a B movie, kind of, and that's fine. It's just an expensive B movie, and that's what this feels like. I'm not saying any filmmaker should study or learn from this film, but I do think it's a bit of a guilty pleasure. The first Jurassic World, however, uses the dinosaurs in a way that I have never understood. This is the first film of the franchise since 2001. It's been a while, so you could really indulge in the idea of putting dinosaurs back on the big screen. You as a creative should want to be building up that excitement as much as you can. However, the film kind of does the complete opposite. The film's main plot revolves around the idea that people are bored of dinosaurs now and the visitor numbers at the park are dwindling. Already, I think that's a slightly bizarre plot for a dinosaur film, but whatever. My main issue with it is that I feel like the film itself treats the audience like we're bored of dinosaurs, constantly adding new things to try to spice them up. And I'm not just talking about the big one, but also the plot with the raptors as well just feels like nonsense. Even scenes like this feel like they want you to be more impressed by the big sci-fi ball than the actual dinosaurs. It really is part of the recurring thing in films and TV shows at the moment where they constantly assume you're bored or losing interest, so they try to shove as much in as possible. Put it this way, the film would never have the guts to do a scene like the car moment, or the slow tension building of the T-Rex scene. Also, the majority of characters in this film aren't interested in dinosaurs, so there's a limited number of people we can connect to through their wonder and amazement. And I just think that would do a disservice to any story. Having it full of people that couldn't care less, it's going to be really hard to connect your audience in any kind of way. And I know people will say that because of the increase of special effects and blockbusters having huge set pieces and aliens and whatever, that people won't be as excited to see dinosaurs on screen as they were in the 90s because we're no longer in awe of the effects. And that's fair, but only a little bit, because isn't it the job of the story to make you care, to make you feel things? We've all seen a lot of rom-coms, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be invested in the relationship we're currently watching because you once watched Notting Hill. I just feel like this film gave up trying to make dinosaurs magical before they even tried. And this may seem harsh, definitely as I was quite nice to Jurassic 3, I know that's stupid, but I'm harsh on this one because it's a new trilogy. They had a massive break in between, so the magic should be oozing off the screen, and it's just not for me. And then the second two installments just got much worse. Again, it doesn't trust the dinosaurs are fun or interesting enough. Suddenly we've got clone kids and incredibly weak villains, and nostalgia being shoved down our throats, trying to manufacture emotion rather than creating it through passion and art. God, I sound so wanky. And it was as I was writing this video that I realised my second point, which kind of could be said for a lot of other big franchises at the moment. As a writer and creative, I'm always going to be more excited by new things. I'm a massive Doctor Who fan, but other than that, I wouldn't say I'm obsessed with many other big franchises or iconic IPs. And even the ones I do like, I'm always wanting them to try something different, to celebrate and find joy in fresh ideas and new visions from pro creatives and new creatives finding their feet. But recently, I found myself being even less interested in big franchises, and I think I've realised why. They all lack an identity. Now, that's a sweeping statement. It's not going to fit for everything. Andor, for example, does its own thing, and that's good, but it's also kind of an anomaly, because most franchises now just feel the same. They're all competing for that big blockbuster opening, but are also too scared to take a risk, so end up creating very similar films with just a different coat of paint. Yes, the characters may be different, the sets, the aliens, monsters, whatever, but in execution, in style, and its way of storytelling, they're so similar. People talk about Marvel undercutting emotional moments with humour, but I've seen that in so much recently in other things. Star Wars, Doctor Who, Jurassic World, etc. And it's not just that, but it's the same humour, arsey sarcasm. Visually, they all look quite similar, same lighting style, same camera shots, same music beats, similar looking sets. The characters are all quite safe, enough personality to be likeable, but nothing unique that could cause any kind of controversy or debate. The good guys are good, the bad guys are bad. They're all trying to turn their main character into an action hero rather than exploring what it's like for a very normal person to be going through the bizarre. A lot of these films will have a moral in the story, but due to wanting to please as many people as possible in the hope to sell tickets, the moral is displayed at the most basic level, refusing to treat the audience with much intelligence. It can't go too scary in case it pushes people away, nothing too romantic in case it pushes people away, nothing too slow, not too character heavy, too weird or out there. Franchises have become incredibly safe, no longer trying to carve their own unique style, but instead desperate to mirror all the others in fear of being different. And this is an even bigger problem for the Jurassic franchise due to its limitations. Star Wars has all the space. MCU has superheroes with different powers and different worlds. Doctor Who has all of time to play with. Even if they're doing it in a way that I feel is pretty boring or lackluster, they have more to play with than just their concept alone. Jurassic World and Jurassic Park has what if dinosaurs were alive again? And that's it. And they did that perfectly in the first one. We had a T-Rex on land in the second, we had a full-on monster movie in the third, Jurassic World showed the audience what the park would actually look like open, the second one has a dinosaur haunted house, which, sorry, should have been way cooler than it actually was, the third one had the original cast back and dinosaurs all over the world. There's just nowhere else to go. The first film asks you to suspend your disbelief, but it grounds its whimsicalness in real human characters. But with each sequel, the characters become thinner and the plots get more outlandish to the point it no longer evokes any emotion, apart from maybe boredom. And I know that they make big money at the box office and that's why they keep pumping them out, but as someone who loves storytelling, I just hate that that's a reason for a film to exist. Also, they won't always. One day, one will come out and it won't do very well, and they'll find something to blame, either the cast or the viewing habits of the public, rather than admit they just should have stopped many years ago. And hey, maybe Rebirth will be good, maybe I'll have some fun with it, but from the trailers and the clips that I've seen, it just looks like any other summer blockbuster, with all the money visible on screen, but very little heart. A lot of the time I will sit and I will wonder what I would do with a film or TV show if I was given the chance. And although the first Jurassic Park is one of my favourite films of all time, I wouldn't want to touch the franchise at all. I have no ideas for it, and I just don't think anything new can be added, especially in the current climate of riskless event movies. And I'm not saying dinosaur films can't work. I've made it perfectly clear in this video that dinosaurs are cool. But I think this franchise has written itself into a corner, and unfortunately for them, it did everything it ever wanted to do in its very first outing.